We've plucked another handful of gems from the Hatteberg vault.
And here's what's coming up.
I'm from Greensburg. This is my hometown, and I want to come back to my hometown. And it seems like day by day, I get pushed further away is how it feels.
This Kiowa County fireman was both a hero and a victim of the Greensburg tornado. See his frustration in the wake of the storm, then see how it all turned out. Also,
we do feel like we're going to see our children again in heaven. And if it wasn't for that, I don't think I could go on.
Nothing could be more devastating than the losses suffered by this Kansas couple. But they found a way to go on and try to make sense of it all. Larry shares their very personal story coming up. Plus,
one of those deals that make up your mind you want to do it, and you just go for broke.
he had a choice: turn this old theater into a parking garage or remodel a piece of El Dorado history. We'll take you back to 1985 when Bill Skinner had high hopes for this place. Then you'll hear the rest of the story, and we'll also have this.
It was born out of just coming down here and falling in love and saying, we've got to do something because we're going to lose this landmark again.
Some preservationists in Oxford got together to save the old mill. They turned it into something successful and relevant to young and old alike. See how some original thinking has made all the difference. I'm Susan Peters. It is great to have you with us today.
And I'm Larry Hatteberg. Those are just some of the stories that are queued up for this edition of Hatteberg's People. These stories are like old friends. Their lives radiate from the screen like prophets of the past. They were teachers, but not in a classroom. Instead, they taught about life to those around them who cared to listen, and I was their student.
The force of a nuclear bomb leveled their town. 11 people were killed and nearly everyone else was left homeless when an EF5 tornado blasted through Greensburg.
May 4th, 2007 is indeed a date that will live in infamy. One of the heroes of that night and the aftermath was firefighter Chance Little. As cleanup was underway, Chance was recognized by the Country Music Association for his rescue efforts. But it was about the last thing he was thinking about as his town lay in ruin.
Okay, what else needed a radio?
It's business, but not as usual at the Kiowa County Fire Department.
Engine 1 to 500.
In a brisk Kansas wind, the department is here.
500, go ahead.
Their building is not.
There's nothing that makes me special.
Chance Little is a Kiowa County fireman. The night of the Greensburg tornado, he was on duty.
I got out of the vehicle and ran pretty much 2 blocks to where my wife and daughter were.
Came down to check on us, make sure we were okay, and told us that he was headed off to help some more people.
That night, he and other firemen helped rescue many.
My slab of dirt. My neighbor here and me, we leveled both of our houses.
On the ground where his home once stood, Chance says he has no idea why the Country Music Association is honoring him.
We just did what we're supposed to do, so.
Today, his family lives in Haviland in a 5th-wheeled trailer. They have a 1-year-old and are expecting another child in a couple of months. It's difficult right now.
It has been tight, but we're getting used to it, and we just make do.
Uh-oh.
Wouldn't be so bad probably without all the toys and stuff, but that's what keeps her happy.
As Greensburg struggles to get back to normal, the fire department helps to keep the dust down so more rubble can be removed. There are, though, moments of frustration, even for Chance, who loves this town and is trying to stay.
But I'm from Greensburg. This is my hometown, and I want to come back to my hometown. And it seems like day by day, I get pushed further away is how it feels.
The problem isn't with local government, it's FEMA. Chance is trying to get temporary housing for his family in a mobile home. While some have, Chance can't seem to satisfy the paperwork.
Just tell me what's going on so I can continue with my life is how I feel.
Even though he's frustrated right now, Chance loves his work as a Kiowa County fireman stationed in Greensburg. It's what he wants to do, and he's good at it. Tornadoes and fires he was trained for, not a storm of paperwork.
If we're the only residents in town, that's fine, but I'm definitely coming back, and I'll be right here.
Now, Chance and his family did indeed come back to Greensburg. They moved into a new house there in December of that year.
More recently, Chance was elected to the Greensburg City Council in 2020. Now, the city has risen from the rubble thanks to determined people like Chance, along with the help of numerous government and nonprofit grants. Although the population is still only about half what it was before the tornado.
Now rewind to 1985 and another kind of family tragedy. Far worse than losing a home is losing your child. And Carol and Herb Page lost 3, all at a very young ages.
How were they able to deal with this? That's what Larry wanted to find out.
God just loans us our kids for a little while. They're not really ours to keep, they're His. And if He calls them back, we've got to let them go and not be angry at God about it, because they're just on loan to us.
Meadow, he wanted to watch the
Carol Page makes sure she sees her children every day, not only with her eyes, but also with her heart. These pictures are the reason why. In the last 15 years, Carol and Herb Page have lost 3 of their 7 children. Kevin in 1968, Stacy in 1981, and 18-month-old Dawn Marie just last month. 2 of the children died unexpected and unexplained. Dawn Marie died of a heart defect. The Pages wanted to tell their story so these deaths would have meaning.
We do feel like we're going to see our children again in heaven, and if it wasn't for that, I don't think I could go on.
Sure. That's all you have someday. The faith is the last knot on the end of the rope to hang on to. It's all you've got.
The Pages were like most of us. The death of a child was unthinkable. So when it happened not once but 3 times, they knew they had a message for other parents.
I've got them right now, but I don't know about tomorrow or an hour from now or next month. And it's just good sometimes to say, just come here and let me hold you right now, because I know how much I'd like to hold the ones I don't have. Just, if I could just do that one more time.
The Pages' children are the light of their lives, but to help Herb and Carol over the dark times of the past is a caring group called Compassionate Friends. It's made up of people who've also lost children and people who understand what it's like.
It's okay to sit and cry.
Everybody there is going through the same thing that you are, maybe different ways, but they can relate to you.
And even, before you talk to those people, just going into the room and they've lost a child, you just feel a special closeness with them.
On the night Dawn died, Carol wrote these words. Dawn was always a loving and cuddly baby, and my arms ache for her. A very special part of me is gone, and I am forever changed. That's why the Pages recently started a Compassionate Friends group in Wellington, a group that's ready to help, but a group they hope you never have to join. In Conway Springs, this is Larry Hatteberg.
Well, the Pages say the Compassionate Friends organization was a great help to them for many years. Now, the group still has chapters in both Wichita and Newton. Meanwhile, Carol and Herb now live in Andover and within 10 minutes of all 4 of their remaining children and their families.
Carol says those 3 children they lost are still loved and missed, and there are still emotional times. But she says they've also been blessed with 17 grandchildren now and some great-grandchildren as well. Carol says they are a very close-knit family and love spending time together. I did several stories on that group called Compassionate Friends. Thank goodness they're still in existence. And if you know of someone who may need their help or may benefit, they are still online. Just go to compassionatefriends.org.
Yeah, they help so many people in this area. It's great.
And to recover after something unthinkable.
Yeah, it is unthinkable.
Well, when you think of a college president, what comes to mind? Perhaps a pompous, stuffy old rotund man who faculty and students consider intimidating and unapproachable.
Well, not at McPherson College. Here's a story from 2009 when Michael Schneider was brand new to that job.
Coming back here, it felt like coming back home. This is our machine shop. Hey, Michael Schneider. We like getting you guys together because we know you'll tell us anything. For me, it's all about moving forward. Good luck with your meetings. Take care. Yep, see ya.
Michael Schneider's office seems to be wherever he is.
I bring something a little bit different to a place that was open and willing to accept something different. And so here I am.
I install you, Michael Schneider, as the 14th president of this college.
The best leaders out there lead outside of the walls of their office, and so I think it's important as a leader to be out with your people. The goal is real simple for me. I want to hand you a diploma in 4 years that has more value than when you started here. What I'm challenging our campus with, again, is to reinvent the idea and define liberal arts for us. We not only need to prepare students for one career, but my goodness, multiple careers.
We could use you as an example if you want to come up and help us.
And I put our fine arts programs up against any program in the state.
Schneider neither carries the gray hair of academia nor the shackles of what defines a liberal arts college.
We're in a unique position that we're small, and we can operate more entrepreneurial. We can turn on a dime here.
And he does. Lunch on the run. More to do, more to show.
Welcome to McPherson Stadium. This is home of the Bulldogs and the Bullpups. This is an interesting.
He's not tied to an office, nor does he want to be. His youth permits a bit of living on the edge.
Yep, later. They gave me one of the best gifts I've ever been given, and that's the permission to take a risk and make a mistake. The Woody, Larry, actually didn't have any plans, and we built it from the ground up.
It's here in the college automobile restoration shop where Schneider believes it can be a model for what other parts of the college can do.
They were just telling me that they'll probably get 3 cars finished this year.
This college is Schneider's alma mater, and when he graduated with a communications degree, he left, then settled in Denver running a printing company. He obtained an MBA, decided education was his future, and came back to McPherson College in 2002. Now he is one of the youngest college presidents in the country.
I've had lots of opportunities in my life, and it seems like I'm always the youngest, and so I'm in a spot that seems comfortable. This is a fit for me. This is a fit for me.
Well, it must have indeed been a good fit because Dr. Schneider is still president of McPherson College more than 12 years later. And when I first did that story, he was a young college president. I don't know if he was the youngest in the nation, but pretty close to it. And he had this exuberance and this excitement about learning and teaching in the college. And I followed him around for a day or so, and it was just fun to be around and watch him ignite passion in both the faculty and the students.
I remember when that story first aired, and I was like, whoa, that guy's a breath of fresh air
He was.
at a college. And he's still going strong.
It's still today.
I love it. Okay, I've said it before, I'll say it again, Larry. They don't build them like they used to.
No.
And once they're gone, they're gone.
Well, that includes a lot of things, including historic theaters. Now, we've seen a lot of those disappear over the years. Some of them, though, have been saved and restored. And that's what Bill Skinner was trying to do with the old El Dorado Theater when I stopped by back in 1985.
It's just something that El Dorado needs to keep. And they've had it this long, you know, and I couldn't destroy it.
That's why developer Bill Skinner decided to keep the aging El Dorado Theater.
One of those deals that make up your mind you want to do it, and you just go for broke. Diane, I'm not too sure that it wouldn't hurt to go ahead for no longer than it'd take and put another coat on all 6 of them.
Bill Skinner had a choice: to turn this old theater into a parking garage or to remodel a piece of El Dorado's past. History won.
The building's been here that long, built 65 years ago. It was just hard for me to destroy something that had been sitting here that long.
The theater is rich in the architecture of the 20s.
I don't know how many of them are left around the country, but they're far and few between anymore.
Built in 1921, the old theater was originally a home for vaudeville, but was later turned into a movie house.
I really spent more money than I should have, but then I probably would still do it the same way, I'm sure.
Bill says he didn't save the old theater for El Dorado just because he's a nice guy. As a matter of fact, he had spent over $5,000 to turn it into a garage.
You got to gamble and like to do it.
As finishing touches continue, town folks wander in to look at the progress.
Now, I've already been booking reunions for next year already, seeing here.
Reunions are just one of the events that will take place in the historic structure. Remodeled, Bill has decided to call the old theater Willie's, and he hopes to book weekly entertainment groups and to offer the facility as a meeting place for conventions, social groups, and for parties.
Lots of work. No end to it.
Now, since Bill completed his restoration, the old theater has served as a restaurant and event venue off and on, changing ownership several times.
And in 2019, all the furnishings were auctioned off. Most recently, though, there has been talk of turning the place into a nightclub. Okay, just a little bit of trivia here.
Okay.
When I did my history of Barack Obama's family in Kansas, did you know Barack Obama's grandparents had their first date at the El Dorado Theater?
I remember that from your story.
You do remember
I do
it?
remember that from your story. Yes, because they lived in the El Dorado area.
They did.
And later moved to Winfield.
And later moved to Winfield, and then to
I learned that from your
Wichita,
story. Yes.
where his mother was born. Barack Obama's mother was born at St. Francis Hospital. And then they moved to Hawaii.
Right. You are a fountain of information.
Okay, speaking of history now, we're going to go to an historic landmark that's been restored and is a real success story year after year.
And it is the Oxford Mill, a town treasure in more ways than one.
This has been a great place to grow up. It's been a great place to raise my kids. It's quiet, it's peaceful. It kind of takes you away from the reality of the rest of the world.
The historic Oxford Mill, built in 1874, was worth saving.
I do see it as an anchor. I think it's an important anchor to our community. It's a symbol of things past and things present and things to be.
When Deborah Ham became superintendent of schools in Oxford, she saw the mill as a community treasure, and she had the idea to use it then as a learning experience for students.
It was what I refer to my board as a scathingly brilliant idea. It was born out of just coming down here and falling in love and saying, we've got to do something because we're going to lose this landmark again.
That something was creating a restaurant at the old mill run by Oxford High School students.
So it's really just provided a lot of opportunities for our kids to work with a variety of people. And for me personally, I just think it's awesome. And I love the idea. I love the opportunity for kids to get out. This is what I think the future of school is all about, is making high school much more connected with the real world.
It's given me time to work in the summer when I probably wouldn't have been doing anything.
I really wanted to see a future for the old mill and for my hometown and just for the learning experience.
Here's some of this stuff that has to be cleared back. And
Now back to Sherry White's project. While taking a master's class, she applied for a grant to construct a walking trail to be built adjacent to the old mill.
We were notified that we received the grant, and then I went, okay, now what do I do?
Now Oxford teenagers and members of the community pitch in to make the trail another learning and walking area next to the mill.
There you go. We're hoping on the trail part, we're hoping to put some education signs, some information about some of the foliage down here and the wildlife, as well as the history for the mill. I'm very happy that I did what I did, and as I see people come down here and enjoy it, and yeah, I'm very glad that I got involved. It's been a lot of work, but it's worth it. See how the stuff washed across?
Small towns know the value of history, and using what you have to help the community is what both Deborah Ham and Sherry White have done. It is one instance where part of the town's future is rooted in its past.
I'm hoping that our kids are taking the lessons that they're learning here by being connected to their past into their future.
Now, Deborah Ham later moved on to Augusta and then to the Newton School District, where she just recently retired.
Sherry White is still school counselor at Oxford, and the students still serve up food at the old mill on Sundays from 11 to 2.
I went down after I did the story and did a little still photography essay on this old mill, and it's right there on the Arkansas River, and it's all brick, and it's just fun to photograph. A lot of people go down to photograph this old mill, and it's so historic, and it's so wonderful for that small town of Oxford.
Isn't it?
You know, and they used to have meals that they would serve during the week. I don't think they're doing that anymore. But it's really a treasure for that town.
Oh my, I got to get down there.
You got to get down and see it.
Okay,
Absolutely.
the still pictures that you took.
Yes.
Are they in your Hatteberg's People books?
They are not.
They are not.
No.
But your Hatteberg's
They're in my
People...
living room. Everybody's invited over to my living room and we can see them.
If you want his books, they're available on Amazon, aren't they?
You can find them. They are out of print now.
Yeah.
When I did that book, that was a long time ago.
No, it wasn't. It was yesterday.
I was 12 years old when I did those books.
They are treasures. I have both of them. For many Kansas farmers, wheat is their bread and butter as they help feed the world with their amber waves of grain.
But as we know, man cannot live by bread alone. Fortunately, wheat can also be used to make beautiful art. Carolyn Schultz at Bethel College helped make wheat weaving a popular craft in the 1980s. Take a look.
Carolyn Schultz's fingers easily intertwine the long strands of the wheat stalk into objects of art.
I think it fascinates Kansans because it uses wheat, and wheat for Kansas is so much a part of every person, farmer as well as the urban resident. Well, that means I've come to the end.
Carolyn took up the art of wheat weaving over a decade ago, and a few years later turned it into a business for Bethel College Women's Association. As the wife of Bethel College President Harold Schultz, she found that it could be a profit-making venture for the college. Now, working in a building near the campus called the Granary, she and others turn out wheat weaving kits that are sold throughout the nation.
The farmers enjoy it because they see something beautiful made out of a product from their own land, and they have a real attachment to wheat, to grain, and to the land. When it was very new to Kansas and they would first come around and see things, they would literally just shake their head. It was just silence for a while, and they'd think, you mean you can do that out of wheat, out of straw? I mean, just really amazed. I think that the popularity of wheat weaving, and even for those who do it and for those who purchase items that other people make, is because I think they're tired of the plastic world, the artificial things. And this is a natural product from the field. This is where we store the wheat for drying. We bring it in from the fields and hang it on these chains. And the secret is to get it up off the floor so that it dries properly. And only when it's dried properly do you have beautiful straw. No two pieces ever turn out alike, even though I use the same design. And when I first started it, I thought, this is not for me. It's too tedious. I think I'll just make bouquets out of wheat. And the more I did it, you really get hooked on it, and there's a lot of creativity in it, and that's the thing that keeps me with it.
Carolyn has co-authored the only full-size book on wheat weaving and has been instrumental in keeping others interested in a craft that has now woven its way into our Kansas heritage.
Very much so. Wouldn't be much of a craft or a hobby if it didn't have some love in it.
From Bethel College in North Newton, Kansas, this is Larry Hatteberg.
Now, 6 years later, Carolyn and Harold moved to Kansas City, where she taught at a college and he served as director of a hospital foundation.
Carolyn says the wheat weaving business continued on for several more years at Bethel, and it raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for the college. But eventually the business was sold and moved off campus.
Yeah, meanwhile, Carolyn continues to weave wheat as a hobby. A book she wrote about it in 1977 continues to serve as a popular resource for other weavers around the world. It's hard and difficult to weave wheat, and it's hard to say it too. Try that. Weave wheat. It's a wonderful art, but very few can do it.
It seems like it would break on you all the time. But
it would on me, but to an artist like Carolyn.
When I first moved to Kansas in the 80s, I bought so much of that wheat weaving. Sent it back to all my relatives in California. They had that wheat on their walls for years.
Well,
I loved it.
You made a difference. All right.
If you have a question or a comment, here's our email address, hattebergspeople@kpts.org. We absolutely love hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Susan Peters.
And I'm Larry Hatteberg. Great to have you with us. Be safe, and we'll see you again soon.